I made a mistake. I screwed up. This didn't work. I admit defeat. Tap. That's hard. And until you've really fought yourself and battled your own ego, that's a hard thing to do. It becomes easier and easier when you realize that when you do screw up and you're like, wow, that didn't work. All right, I'm going to change this. Just like in training. Holy, I tried to do this, didn't happen. It's no different. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Budo Brothers podcast. You got Eric.
And Kyle.
And we were thinking just today how Budo Brothers is going to be a lifelong pursuit for both of us. And it also got us thinking about how if we're going to do this for the rest of our lives, it has to support us for the rest of our lives. And we're talking about retirement and how are we going to retire? How are we, we don't have a 401k. We don't have retirement plans. We're still young. We still got a lot of miles to go. But if you don't start thinking about that stuff now, all of a sudden you're 65 and holy, I got to work till I'm 80.
Yeah. And I was watching a show called Downsizing, I believe it is. It's a new show about creating these little people, but there's a scene in it where they're talking about retirement and they just like go through and they talk about their savings and then they say their savings and it's obviously not enough to retire on. And that is a fear and a stress of a lot of people. And the hard thing is balancing thinking about that all the time and preparing for it and also being present in the moments that you exist in. But currently with how our economy is going and how the government is going, how just life is progressing, there's going to be nobody to come and save us when we're older. Like, we are going to have to be reliant on ourselves in order to live happily. Now, living happily doesn't necessarily mean Ferraris and Bentleys and mansions and all of those things, but creating a structure, a unit, a family, a team, stuff around you. Resources, that's a great word, that are going to help you age and die gracefully.
That's exactly it. No one's coming to save you. If you're not self-reliant, if you cannot rely on yourself, who are you relying on? Odds are there's going to be a time where whatever it is you're relying on goes away. That's the nature of how the world works.
Yeah.
When you're dependent on one source of income, all of a sudden you get laid off. When you are all in on one investment, shocker, it doesn't work out. I mean, how many times have we been there when we're relying on one thing and it doesn't end up panning out? Being reliant on yourself, the only person that can give up is you.
Yeah, it's very true. And in the world of investing, they say your biggest, the ninth wonder of the world or whatever that extra wonder of the world is compounding interest, like when things compound. But coming from a family, like a West Indian family, a Trinidadian family, and you come from a very good, Danish background family, and just the family values are tight. And we always say that family doesn't always need to be blood, right?
Yes.
Family is your crew, family is your tribe, family is whoever you surround yourself with.
Your Budo brothers.
But investing in that unit compounds over time. When you invest in people surrounding you, you put in the time, you put in the energy, you listen, you're present, you're there, and you invest everything into those people, shocker. When you need them, they're there for you. And I think that's one of the biggest tools that we use in order to do the things we do, right? Even no matter what, things are crazy, we have a good support system that we can rely on.
And it's funny because as we age, I have found myself caring less and less about going out and being invited to all the parties and COVID sure helped with that. But, it's less and less that I care about the stuff that I used to care about in high school. The family unit has become so much more of a focus. And you're right. Investing time in your support system only strengthens it. It only provides it with more strength.
Yeah. And when you're younger, you want to be popular or you want to have a lot of friends. So it's all about width. How many friends you can make, how many people you get out to your birthday party or event or whatever it is you're planning, like how many people like you, how many followers you have on social media. That's the most important thing, like how many, how much. Mm-hmm. When you put some years behind you or you start figuring it out, it's way more important to go deep with fewer people and, build trust and strong relationships in a small amount, because you only have so many hours and time in a week.
Yeah.
And like you could go a fraction with a whole bunch of people, or you can build quality with a few people.
And think about the people in your life that have the most impact. Your family, your senseis, your coaches, your teachers, your mentors, the people that you look up to and say, wow, they're doing well. I want to be like them. The more people that you surround yourself like that the investment is mutual. There is when an instructor is in the phase of his life where they just want to help that next protege, it's valuable for them. Yeah. Just as it's I always viewed it incredibly valuable on one end, but it's a reciprocal value. And the more people that you can invest that time with, the better.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is it's a little bit tricky, right? Because you can't go investing in relationships expecting
it's not
people to take care of you. When you start expecting things, it never works.
When it's transactional.
Yes. Like, I'm going to spend time with you, so you have to do this for me. And it is never a linear way that it works, right? You throw your energy and your love into attention into something, and in a roundabout way, it always ends up coming back and paying you back. And you can't ever foresee that way.
So investing in a support system and having people around you to help you thrive is important. And I think we started this podcast by saying no one's going to save you. Are you self-reliant? Can you rely on yourself?
Yes.
And I feel like being able to rely on yourself is a lot easier knowing that you have a support group, and you can go take risks. You can go try things, and if they don't work out, you're not going to fall off a cliff into some daggers,
Yeah, and there's a saying, I don't know where I heard it. It's pretty aggressive, and it's like you're born alone and you die alone. And
not true.
It is true.
You're born with your mom.
No, you're born alone, you die alone, meaning
your mom's there.
Your life is your own. Like, it is 100% you. Not
it's your
reliant on anything else but you.
Yes.
You come out by yourself, you go away, like wherever that place is, right? And to live your life depending on others to feed you, take care of you, to support you. I mean, if it's there, great. But being able to create a system or something where, you can fend enough for yourself, it makes you more confident. And there's phases in life when you're 90 years old, sometimes you can't, of course, do all the things that you were when you're a baby. But there's this middle section where you're independent, right?
Yeah.
And that is kind of funny. When you're born, you are completely dependent on people. When you're getting close to death, you're also completely independent on people.
Dependent
on people. There's a very short space of time in the middle where you could be independent.
Right.
And even still, like, how independent are you really?
And being independent and self-reliant is a upwards spiral, because as you can provide for yourself, as you can go out and hunt and become proficient at being resourceful and creating abundance for yourself, it starts to build confidence, which makes you do more. Like, it's a self-upward spiral where you taking action to create abundance or whatever it is you're chasing, you taking action and being self-reliant reinforces your confidence, which allows you to do more of that.
Right. And I think the real thing we're trying to highlight with this, no one's coming to save you, is taking ownership. Like, taking ownership of your life, taking ownership where if something bad happens, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that, it's because.
Mm-hmm.
Taking ownership and fixing things and moving forward and being able to say, look, I made a mistake. I'm going to edit it, fix it, do better.
That's hard.
That's the hardest.
Yes. I made a mistake. I screwed up. This didn't work. I admit defeat. Tap.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard. And until you've really fought yourself and battled your own ego, that's a hard thing to do. It becomes easier and easier when you realize that when you do screw up and you're like, wow, that didn't work. All right, I'm going to change this. Just like in training. Holy, I tried to do this, didn't happen. It's no different.
Yeah.
You know?
And the ownership could even be like, I need help.
Yes.
Because you're like, I don't have the skills required to solve this problem in this moment. I need help.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And that's a hard thing to do too.
It is.
Yeah. Admitting you're wrong or don't have enough of a skill set yet to complete something to the efficiency that it needs to be completed to is such a shot to the ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
It hurts. Like, am I not good enough?
Yes.
Right? But you have to own that. Like, if you're not in that moment, you have to get better.
Admitting you're wrong and viewing it as an opportunity to learn equals growth.
Yeah.
Like, admitting when you're wrong, admitting when you fuck up, admitting when things don't work out, and saying, okay, that didn't work out. I have an opportunity to learn. That's how you grow.
Yeah. It's very true. And it's one of those things where we're saying no one's coming to save you, but yet we're also saying, like, make a support system, right? So it's like it's these two different things. I really feel like the ownership piece is what you surround yourself. Like, you have to own your strengths, your weaknesses, and also your mistakes and your weaknesses and your failures and strengths, and always continually grow, right? That's the name of this whole experience that we're in.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to talking just self-reliance and being able to, when we say no one's coming to save you, the same goes for martial arts.
Yeah.
The same goes for training. You know, when you're out there, how many videos have we watched of people where bystanders just sit there and watch an old grandma getting mugged and no one does anything? Someone being harassed on the train. No grown men that could easily overpower this person do nothing. No one's coming to save you.
Yeah.
In this day and age, I haven't seen a whole lot of knights in shining armor coming to save people when they're in need.
It's very true.
No one's coming to save you.
Yeah. Yeah, and in martial arts, being prepared for those moments where you got into a bad situation and you are the only way to get out, right? You are completely reliant on yourself and your skills in that moment to get out. And you got to be prepared by training.
That's it.
Training and situational awareness and all of the things leading up to that moment are more important than reacting in the moment. Yeah.
Training like no one's going to come save you is a good way to train.
Yes.
You know, like we're not always going to be together. You're not going to have your best friend who's going to jump on someone who's trying to mug you.
Right.
You know, like, all right, I'm alone. It's 3-on-1. You know,
And two, like even you get injuries and criminals, assailants always look for a way to take advantage. They're always going to look for somebody who's weaker or is hurt.
Easy target.
But that's like nature, right? If you have a lion hunting a pack of zebra, it's going to look for the hurt zebra to go eat that thing.
Or the baby.
Yeah, or the baby. It doesn't want to work harder.
It's hungry.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, that's the big, strong one. I'm going to go after that. It's give you a good meal. You're not going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're no different as humans.
So when you think about no one is coming to save you and you reflect on that in martial arts, but also in your personal life, what can we do to shore that up? Training, obviously, but in our personal lives, how can we become more self-reliant?
I think it is the ownership piece is one of the biggest things for me. That's what comes forward. Taking ownership, and the ownership will identify where it is you need to put your focus, right? Because when you take ownership, you're looking at things as is. Objectively. And like, these are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. You're not lying to yourself. You're not being like, oh, I'm okay, you know, like, it'll get better. Like, I bet you everybody right now could think of this. Most people have a certain amount of visa debt.
Yep.
Right? That is a weakness.
True.
When you hold
credit card debt, Visa is charging you 19% or higher to hold that debt. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting there working your bag off to try to make this money, and here they are catching a free ride 19% every month. Like, that's being like, why do I have that? Yeah.
Let me get rid of that. Let me spend within my means, right? And that's a hard thing.
It is.
It is a hard thing. So taking ownership of that, taking ownership of yourself, taking ownership of your health, taking ownership of your expenses, taking ownership of your relationships.
Yeah.
When you take ownership, you're taking responsibility and you're not leaving it to chance. Mm-hmm. That's why we say no one's coming to save you. There's no lottery. Like, there's very few people winning the lottery. Sure. There's very few people who are going to be like, hey, let me make you the next Justin Bieber. Hey, like, that's luck.
Waiting for your lucky break is not a good strategy.
Like, buy your lotto ticket every week expecting that's your way out.
Yeah.
It's not the best odds.
And surprise, surprise, the harder we work, the luckier we get.
Right. Yeah.
We put in work. We show up. When we don't want to, and we'd love to take a break and yes, I mean, of course, you can't be pedal to the metal the whole time, but we put out volume. We show up. And I think that's half of the battle is just showing up.
Budo Brothers Challenge. I have a challenge that is near and dear to my heart. If you're not in this camp, good on you. But being financially stable is very hard. And when you're unstable, it causes a lot of stress. And I know for most North Americans, Visa cards are one of the biggest problem, whether that's personally or within your business. The Budo Brothers Challenge is to set up a system, a strategy, a plan to either clear it or to start chipping away at it, to get one of those shackles off of you in order to live a little bit more financially free.
And even if I love that, and even if it means lowering your limit, you know, if we're trying to do that right now, we keep hitting the limit on our corporate Visa. Let's just lower that so that, we don't have room. Oh, it means we have to pay it down? Great. The 19% interest that we're getting paid because we just threw a bunch of cash in new products and can't pay down the Visa this month, we're giving 20% to Visa.
Right.
You know, that it's so, we've been talking about this for a year.
Yeah.
And it's been so hard. So proof in the pudding. It's difficult.
It's so hard.
It is hard. But you're right. You need to put a system in place. And that's what we've started doing, putting a system in place to start chipping away at that, lowering it, and not even having it as an option to get into that debt trap, because it is a trap.
Mm-hmm. And one of the best systems you can do is an automatic withdrawal.
It's like a tax.
Put an automatic withdrawal on your account into the Visa.
Done.
Or credit or MasterCard or American Express, whatever it is you got.
Yeah.
That happens every month. So it's just, you don't even need to think about it. Because when you add thought in,
doesn't work.
You need this. I need these things.
Yes.
This money's spent better here. I'm hard up here.
Discipline.
Yeah.
Takes discipline. I love that. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next week.
We'll see you soon.